Get a line on the dog, so you're squared up with the dog, and then you're opening just a little bit to have the dog come right into the shoulder area. So what I want you to practice is the process of thinking about catching that dog without a dog, right? So as you're coming in to catch that dog, you're going to, we want in PSA, especially in the level 1, we want to be moving through the dog during the process of the catch, right? We're not stopping, allowing the catch, and then going into the drive. So there's a process where we want to make sure that as that dog is coming to us, right, we want to meld our footwork with what our upper body is doing. So first, understand what the upper body has to do. The upper body has to be where you can identify the dog that's running at you, open enough to have a clear shot into the bicep. We want to be sure we're not closed too far, right? If you're closed too far, right, what's going to happen? Your hand is in the way of where we want the dog to go. If you're open too far, right, then what's going to happen is the dog is going to come anywhere over here, right? We don't want the dog far out here. So as you're coming in, we're just opening slightly, right? Identify where that dog is, open slightly, give the dog room to come in, okay? Questions about that? All right. The next piece is what we do with our feet when that dog is making contact and impact, okay? So the process of catching, if you think about it in the upper body, as that dog is coming in, we have to get this side of the body out of the way. If we plant here as the dog is hitting us, right, then all of our weight is going to be on this leg, right, and the dog is going to make contact with the left side of our body, and we're going to jam the dog. What we don't want to do is jam the dog, right? So as we're coming in, it's most decoys will do a little stutter step right before the dog makes contact. So as you're coming in and that dog is getting close, just a little stutter step so that you can make sure you get the weight off of this leg, okay? Questions about that? All right, so as we're coming in, we're going to stutter step. There should be a plant here just before the dog arrives, right? And then we want to be taking that weight off of that leg as that dog makes contact, right? So as the dog makes contact, boom, we want to pop that shoulder back just a little bit, because what's the dog going to follow?
The momentum.
The dog is going to follow the movement, okay? So if you're coming in and the first thing you do is try and sidestep away, the dog is going to track your movement, okay? So we're stutter stepping, right? As that dog is hitting, we're coming forward with this leg, we're planting, we're popping that shoulder back, so when the dog hits, we can get the side out of our way, and then you're going to sit down a little bit. Because as that dog comes through, you have to counterweight the dog, right? So you have to lean and sit down just a little bit as that dog comes through. So boom, catch, you're sitting down, and then the first thing that has to happen to go right into that drive is this leg needs to immediately come through. Let's talk a minute about the drive separately. So when I have my dog through the catch, and I'm turning my body into the dog, right, after the catch, the most important thing is that first step, getting that first leg through, right? If you don't get the leg through on the catch in order to do the drive, what's going to happen is the dog's going to start floating out in front of you. Once the dog gets out in front of you, that's where you can trip and fall over top of the dog. So once we make that catch, boom, we're sitting down. We've got to turn into the dog and get that first step, right, to where we can now run. In PSA, we use a run drive, right, not a skip drive. So what that basically means is once you make that catch and you turn into the dog, you're going to then get that first leg up and you are running as you're doing your drive. We want to make sure what we're doing with our arm that the dog is biting is proper, right? So a lot of people will pull their arm way up high. What that's going to do is that's going to get the dog out in front of you. You want to have your arm here, right? Nice and loose. Dog is biting in the bicep here. That first step, you're coming through the dog, right here. You're turning your hips in the direction that you want to travel. Your elbow is pointing in the direction that you want to travel. All right? you want the dog on the ground, at least with its back legs, okay? With some of the smaller dogs, it'll be a bit of a challenge, right? But you want the dog here in what we call the pocket. So we go from the catch, boom, pop that elbow, sit down, turn, leg free, and we start the process of the drive. If at any time during the drive, the dog is going to get a little bit out in front of you, okay? If you allow your arm to open too much, if the dog starts to get in front of you, you can always close the gap by turning your hips more into the dog, okay? So once you start to feel, if you have a dog that pulls a lot or starts to pull you out this way, then you have to tighten that back down by turning into him. The hips are the key in doing a proper drive. You have to turn those hips in the direction that you want the dog to go, right? And you have to be pointing your elbow in the direction you want to go. If your hips are pointing in the direction that you want to go, and then your elbow is here, the dog is going to be in front of you. You're going to step on his back feet, okay? So the exercises that we're going to do here are going to be mimicking that process of catching the dog and going into the drive and driving properly. We're going to put some tension on the bicep with the long lines to get you the feel of what it feels like to drive, okay? So we're going to do some simple